United Nations at 75 Regional Dialogue for Africa. There are many reasons that we have decided on this initiative. First, we're the center that has the nexus promoting between peace, development, and democracy. We believe strongly that without peace, there can be no development in any country. And without sustainable development, there will be no durable peace. And if there's no democracy and human rights, there will neither be peace and sustainable peace or durable peace and sustainable development. So we have been engaged in promoting a discussion of all of the society, by which we mean that the issues of war and peace, the issue of democracy, of development, are far too important to be left to any segment alone. And therefore, we believe that with the civil society and the think tanks and the private sector, and of course the government, we need to come together to reflect on what is the world that the future we want. What is the future we want, and the United Nations that we need, and also an African perspective, because in October 2020, UN will be 75 years old, SGF, and we don't want another fine speeches that doesn't address where the world is now, what are the challenges, what are the priorities, and also we don't want a situation whereby people will be talking about what Africa's priorities should be. We should be able to come together, reflect, very critical analysis, and say these are the priorities for our continent. These are the priorities for our people, and we want to stress multilateralism because we believe strongly that no nation, whether big or small, rich or poor, can really address the challenges, powerful or weak, except by coming together. And there's a threat to that multilateralism by some quarters. We have to reaffirm it. One of our presidents in Nigeria once said that any new world order that will endure must be collectively designed, collectively defined, and collectively defended. And we are part, Africa will sometimes underrate our weight and strength because we have 54 members, and we are the fastest, we contain the fastest growing economy. Even our own country, by some estimate, before very long, we will be the third most populous country in the world, next to India and China. So we feel that with your support, with the participation of the government, we also reestablish our leadership to say we want to, right here in Abuja, to gather people together who know, people who are not dreamers, but people who are pragmatists, practical people, to define what should be our priorities as a continent, and to establish the fact that we Nigerians, we have a role to play, we have a voice, and that is why I believe that we need to come to you. You have always been very supportive, because when I keep telling people that they don't fully understand what the Secretary of Government of the Federation means. You see, you have state, what we call SSGs, Secretary to the state government, but you are not Secretary to the federal government, you are the Secretary to the government of the Federation. In all the centers, including the private sector, including civil society, because there's only one government for the Federation, and so we feel the best place the first place to stop is really here. And we are very, very privileged that you have agreed to see us despite your busy schedule. We have a draft agenda which we have shared with, and we don't want to take too much of your time to go over this, but it will be 2-3 days meeting practical people, experienced people, people who are heading African Development Bank, people who are heading regional economic communities, people from the African Union Commission, the United Nations people, but not a talk shop, but really that will lead to concrete steps to reaffirm multilateralism and to reset the priorities that touch the people. Because the UN Charter, at the beginning, it's an intergovernmental organization, we know, but the preamble says, we the peoples of the United Nations. We want to reaffirm that we the people and the fundamental objective why the UN was set up. So once again, SGF, thank you always for being there for us, and for the promotion not only of our national interest, but of Nigeria in Africa and in the world. Thank you very much.
Well, let me commend the Savannah Center for Diplomacy, Democracy, and Development for this initiative with the Stimson Center, Washington, D.C., and your quest to organize the UN75 Regional Dialogue on Africa with the theme towards innovation and renewal on the road to UN 2020. I think Africa has truly come of age, sir. And the defining role of Africa on the world stage in this decade must be very, very concise, very pragmatic. It has to come with a definite vision for world peace, integration, and sustainable development. And I think the platform you want to use in Nigeria to assemble the entire world will be sending a message that we have come of age. We are now assuming our God-given responsibilities to help fashion the world of the future. Like you rightly alluded, sir, in the next couple of years, probably a decade or two from now, we will become the third largest population on the world. Next to China, India, we will come number 3. With a projected explosion in our population, we're expecting that we will number about 450 million. Still to occupy this limited space that we have. So we have a lot of responsibilities to begin to think about the future of our nation and the role that we are going to play on the world stage. We should not be number 3 only by virtue of numerical figures, but there must be some content and quality in our number that would help us define the future of the world. And I believe, sir, your untiring efforts and relentless efforts in helping to package and put together this dialogue that would deal with issues of climate change, population explosion, migration, huge government deficits, internal conflicts, are major issues that is resonating with the government and with the people of this country. And they are issues that are, for now, they are not futuristic. They have caught up with us. So we better begin to find solutions to them now, so that at least our modest efforts will be appreciated by the yet unborn generation that will bear the brunt of some of the actions or inactions that we are taking now. So I want to align with the objectives of this dialogue that you are spearheading, and to assure you, sir, that we would support the course of this dialogue. We will cooperate with you as a government and as an office, because we know that if we can get the narrative right, it will help us tremendously in even convincing Nigerians to believe in the capacity of this administration to provide and secure the lives of people, to also deal with issues of climate change, and also try to address this perennial distortion in the management of government in terms of the deficits we have. We have housing deficits, we have budget deficits, we have all manners of deficits. Infrastructural deficit, we have all these things. And we need a narrative that will convince the people of this country, for them to have faith in the fact that the policies of government are intended to dealing with these problems and finding solutions and resolutions to them. So we would tap into the wealth of experience that you come to the table with. You have served in different places. You have served at the United Nations, at an international stage. You've looked at the happenings in different parts of the world. With those kind of experiences and the exposures and the linkages and the networking that you bring to table, I believe that as a government, we stand to benefit tremendously from these attributes of yours. And like I said, I will promise you, and by extension, I will speak to the President on these issues and the things that we are trying to do, and the need for government to ensure that we provide every support and cooperation to ensure the hosting of this dialogue and also to meet some of the responsibilities that would befall you as the organizers of this dialogue. So with these very few remarks, I want to tell you that we are on it and we are in it, and wish you the best in the future as you prepare, and keep us abreast of the stages of preparation so that we know exactly at what point you require government to step up its own actions and involvement to ensure that we have a very successful summit that would help redefine the future of the world. Thank you, sir.